పవిత్రము గావించుకుంటూ వచ్చారు పవిత్రమైనటువంటి యొక్క స్త్రీలు.
Women from time immemorial have tried to keep up this purity of the heart.
గత జీవుడగు పతిని బ్రతికించి ఎముగల్చే సావిత్రి భారత సాధ్విగాదే. చచ్చినటువంటి యొక్క భర్తను బ్రతికించినటువంటి స్త్రీలు ఉన్నారు, కానీ చచ్చినటువంటి భార్యను బ్రతికించినటువంటి పురుషుడు ఎక్కడా కనిపించడం లేదు. ఏ చరిత్రలో కూడా మనకు తెలియదు.
In the whole of history, there have been women who brought back like Savitri, dead husbands to life, but there is not a single example of a man who has brought back to life a dead wife.
ఈనాడు ఆధునిక యుగంక మార్గం చేత అనేక రకమైనటువంటి యొక్క చర్యలు ఆధునికంగానే చేరిపోతున్నాయి.
Because of the changes of this modern world, all newfangled thoughts,
సద్భావములకు, సచ్చర్యలకు, సచ్చింతనలకు చక్కని అవకాశమే కనిపించడం లేదు.
There is no place whatsoever for good thoughts, for good actions, for any type of good deeds.
కనుక ఈనాడు స్త్రీలకు ఈ పవిత్రమైనటువంటి యొక్క భావనలు అభివృద్ధి పరచుకొని దీనికి సత్యసాయి సంస్థలని, సత్యసాయి మహిళా విభాగములని దీనికి ఏర్పరిచి ఈ సత్సంగ ప్రభావాన్ని జగమునకు చాటే నిమిత్తమై దీనికి ఏర్పరుస్తూ వచ్చాం.
For the purpose of increasing the recognition of these values, and then it is the woman who should uphold it, and so there are various organizations of Sri Satya Sai like Mahila Vibhag and so many other type of things.
కనుకనే స్త్రీలు కూడినప్పుడే జగత్తంతా కూడాను ఒక పవిత్రమైనటువంటి దేశంగా రూపొందుతుంది.
It's only when the women get together that the whole nation becomes something exemplary.
ఈ స్త్రీల యొక్క సంఘము ఎంతనో గొప్ప విలువను సంపాదించింది.
So this society of women lends it a lot of dignity.
Om Shri Sai Ram. My humble pranams to the lotus feet of my Guru Shri Satya Sai Baba. Welcome everyone to our inaugural session called Sai Illumination series. The theme throughout will be Women are the Beacons of Light. Swami in the earlier discourse has stated the importance of having women wing or the Mahila Sabha and the qualities of a woman. We in Region 7 are grateful to Swami for granting the opportunity to have this additional wing. This series will be an inspiring session with the sisters from within our Region 7. We believe that there are sisters who have had many experiences who can also inspire one another. In the book from Diana Baskin's Divine Lessons from Satya Sai Baba, page 216, she states, the Englishman asked Swami if women had more qualities than men, to which Swami replied, not qualities, powers. Women have 7 powers. They are caring, sacrifice, compassion, understanding, adjustment, patience, and responsibility. These 7 powers are eternal. With that, I would like to introduce all the sisters who have been chosen as the Women's Coordinator for the respective centers. Santa Rosa and Marine is Sister Bhavana Govind. Central San Jose, Sister Ashwini Manjunath. Sacramento, Sister Usha Prasad. Oakland, Sister Suzanne Slyman. Fremont, Sister Dharmishta Patel. Elgrove, our point of contact is Sister Anjana Kumar. YA contact is Sister Sai Gopini Panir Selvam. Media coordinator for women is Sister Alicia Vanyasegra. Our women's peer enrichment lead is Sister Suzanne Slyman, and she is the national lead as well. Following sisters are trained nationally for this program, and some are serving as the women's coordinator currently at the center level. Sister Ashwini Manjunath, Sister Bhavana Govind, Sister Dharmista Patel, Sister Lakshmi Tata, and Sister Vashindra Sastri. Please give your support to all the sisters in your respective centers. Swami has graciously blessed us all. And may we rise in his love and empower each other in his name. With that, few housekeeping rules. Please mute yourselves and turn your video on if possible. You can type in your questions in the chat box for the guest speaker, and the questions will be asked at the end of the session. And the session will be recorded and made available to everyone. At this time, I would like to call upon our Regional Vice President, Sister Sandhya Shrikant, to introduce our National Women's Coordinator for the inaugural session. Welcome, Sister Sairam.
Sairam. It's my pleasure to introduce our own Sister Lakshmi Vyakaran. Sister Lakshmi Vyakaran was raised in Bangalore and was introduced to Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba at the age of 9. She was a student of Bal Vikas during the early years of its formation. She is currently serving as National Women's Coordinator, Sri Satya Sai International Organization, USA. She teaches online SSC for children with special needs. From profession, she is an education specialist working with children on the autism spectrum disorder for the past 20 years. She has worked extensively with families, and she provides a variety of services for children on the autism spectrum disorder. Sairam, Sister Lakshmi, we welcome.
With utmost humility, gratitude, and love, I offer myself at the divine reverential lotus feet of our beloved omnipresent Lord, Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba. Respected elders, speaker of this Illumination series, Lalitha Jagannathan, leadership and membership of Region 7, a very warm welcome and loving Sairam to each and every one of you. It's indeed a great pleasure to be with women of Region 7, my homeland. Of late, I've been kind of, jumping into meetings with various regions, and it's so wonderful to see what a blessing it is to have this women's wing in the United States International Organization. Let me tell you a little bit about how this all came about. So last year, Region 7 was hosting online women's retreat. And because it was online, then we thought, why not invite the ladies from the other regions? And with the cooperation of the regional officers and of course, all the women in the region, we extended this invitation to all the 10 regions in the United States. And then there was a lot of response and a lot of interest. And so we got encouraged and we got motivated and we started ahead and went ahead planning. And as we were planning, we had representatives from each of these regions on the planning team. And it was a wonderful satsang for 3 months on every single Thursday leading up to the event. And then even after the event was over, the sisters were like, oh, can we continue with the satsang? And as we were planning for the retreat last year, this idea came about, like, why don't we start having these women's groups where we can enable, enrich, and empower our sisters? And why don't we start this process? So that's when we requested for one mental health professional, medical professional from each of these regions, and we formed a core team for the peer enrichment group. We call it as a peer enrichment group. And then we had representatives from each of these regions, and we worked tirelessly from last year, I think from April up to February of this year. And then all the sisters came up with this wonderful module, a training module as to how to lead structured women groups, because it's very important. We can just have a fun women group. We can have women group for cooking and all the other interests like hobbies and things like that. But then how do we make it more productive? And how do we bring in Swami's teaching and incorporate all those teachings? So we formed this module, and then we got it approved by the national leaders. And then we started this training process in February of this month. And we had about 43 ladies from all the 10 regions that were interested in getting trained as to how to lead these structured women groups in the regions. And I think Pavitra already mentioned, we had Bhavna, Dharmishta, Ashwini, Lakshmi, Tata, and Vasundhara. And I thought Nirmala also, but I'm not sure at this point. So these were trained from Region 7. And what did we do in this training? So there were different segments of the training. Training was given as to how to be facilitating these groups and what are the boundaries we have to observe as we become participants in these groups. What are the personal boundaries and interpersonal boundaries? And then how do we be effective listeners? How do we listen to others? How to develop that empathy? And then by chance there are any conflicts and problem solving issues, how do we resolve these? And then also self-care. While we are participants in these groups, how do we take care of ourselves as well as have something in place so that we take care of the entire group as a whole. So these were the different segments of the training module. And then once we got all these approved, then the national team was like, oh, these women are getting stronger, and so why not have a women's wing? And so that's how the women's wing took birth and the concept evolved in the United States. And now we have the regional women's coordinators, who are more into the administrative capacity, bringing the women together, having the ladies' day or a retreat in the region, and then coming about with some service projects for the women, so on and so forth. And we have the peer enrichment group in the region that will deal with any other issues that the women would like to, incorporating Swami's teachings and bringing Swami into our lives. As we all wear multiple hats, multifaceted, multidimensional, we do need hand-holding sometimes. And so we have all these resources in place. With that said, I think I will stop here. If there are any questions later on, I'm happy to answer. Thank you for this opportunity. And once again, I'm very grateful to Bhagavan for this. Thank you. Sairam.
Sairam, thank you, Sister Lakshmi Vyakaran, for that wonderful inaugural speech about the women, how it formed the National Women's coordinators and everything. Thank you so much for giving us that insight, Sister Lakshmi Vyakaran. Now I call upon Sister Bhavana Govind to introduce our guest speaker. Sister Bhavana is from Santa Rosa Center, and she's the Vice President, as well as wearing another hat as Women Coordinator as well. Sairam, Sister.
Sairam. Loving pranams at the divine lotus feet of our dear Swami. Warm welcome to everyone. It's my honor to introduce our next speaker for today, Sister Lalitha Jagannathan, former employee of Tata Motors, moved to the US in 2002. She started her career in the corporate world after completing her postgrad study with Masters in Economics. She held several positions in HR, specializing in organizational behavior. Her love for her job helped her with her achievements and her relationships. She served as the president of a non-profit organization, namely the All India Women's Conference, helping needy families in Jamshedpur. She feels blessed to be part of the Sai family, where she had opportunities for sharing and learning in parenting workshops. She designed, led, and facilitated the workshops aimed at self-transformation. Her family and her grandchildren provide a perfect ground for her joy and motivation. Sister Lalitha Jagannathan.
My loving pranams at the lotus feet of our Bhagwan, Sri Satya Sai Baba, and a loving Sairam to everyone. I do feel the pressure of being the opening batsman, but I think with Swami's grace and with your support, we will be heading to an energetic start, and I'm sure that this Sai Illumination series will progress very well. I would like to thank Swami and my team that has invited me today. And before we enter into the main contents, I would also like to thank my husband Jagannathan for his immense patience and encouragement and hard work in converting my thoughts into visuals. And of course, thank you, Bhavna, for such a nice introduction about me. Thank you very much. Okay, as all of you can see from the slide, the purpose of this was to say that all of us, in many ways, in the different roles that we play at home and in our professional life, in various fields, be it politics, finance, law, art, sports, health, academia, music, wherever it may be, we are all beacons of light. Women are beacons of light. What does that mean? It only means that in small ways, in small gestures, we make a big difference. Recent experience of mine, when I got into this program, Pavitra was my first point of contact. And I experienced her as a person with so much of support for me, not having any restrictions about when to call, and all the time checking with me. And today in the morning, I receive a text from her with Swami's picture with this pose saying, "Have a wonderful day and may all his love be with you." When I contacted Lakshmi Vyakaran, because I badly needed guidance, though she was in Boston and 3 hours ahead of us, the voice from the other end comes with so much energy, so much love, hard to believe. I was looking for guidance, but when I heard her saying, "Lalitha ji, we are so happy that you are here. I'm talking to you after a long time. It's wonderful." That was enough for me. So that's the reason why I would like to begin with the positive affirmation that we are all beacons of light. Next slide, please. Now, this slide actually proves that sometimes what we do is more important than what we say. Of course, here, Adi Shankara in Bhajagovindam, the 9th verse, he says, "Satsangatve nisangatvam, nisangatve nirmohatvam, nirmohatve nischalatatvam, nischalatatve jivan mukti." We have all, by choosing to come here today, we have shown what a lot of importance we are placing on satsang, good company. To learn what? Not to go to the Wall Street and see how much of investments I can make, but to really know, who am I? What is my real identity? What is this world about? And how do I reach my full potential? How do I realize myself? Self-realization being the goal. Jivan Mukti. Satsangatve, the two important words over here are that when you are in good company, when you are in satsang, then you are taking the first important step for self-realization. Next slide, please. Okay, what happened as I tried to put my thoughts together? I realized that I was in a big ocean of knowledge. I thought there'll be a few points to jot down. And here I find pages and pages and references that I need to go and that I need to look up and that I need to absorb. A great Tamil poet saint has said, "What we all know is only the size of a fist. What we don't know is the entire world." Non-realization of this puts a brake on my progress. When my ego comes in And I say, I know it all. You know, like children, I'm sure those who are teachers, you would have experienced, I experience it all the time. You open a chapter or you talk about a concept, or even in math, you give them a problem, they'll say, oh, I know this. I tell them, okay, if you know, then you must do it properly. Okay, then that makes them think. I just turned 72. I'm married for the last 46 years. I have 2 sons and 2 loving granddaughters. I'm still learning from people in the family and from my students and from other people all around me. For those of you who are younger than me, you know that you have a long, long way to go. But I don't plan to stop here. I'm going to continue. So that makes your journey even longer. There's no age limit for learning. There's no age limit for absorbing that learning. There's no age limit for improving. In fact, that is the purpose of life. And that's how we all truly prove that we are beacons of light. Next. Now, this is my favorite slide, because this talks about the metaphor, women as beacons of light. When I think of this phrase, beacon of light, the picture that very easily comes to my mind is that of a lighthouse. The lighthouse that stands on the shore all alone amidst rocks, constantly being lashed by waves, big and small, some of them very formidable. But never for a moment does it forget what it needs to do. And what does it need to do? It needs to provide light and guidance, direction to those who are lost and confused in the dark sea. It needs to warn people who are close to an impending danger. It has to give hope and joy to those who want to reach the shore. This metaphor aptly fits every woman across the world, irrespective of their caste, color, race, religion, and nationality. Next slide, please. Okay, so I have divided my talk into 3 parts. The first part is what Swami has to say about women. Now, I realize that if I did a lot of things myself, I may get a pushback. So I said, okay, let me summarize what Swami has said about women, because when he says something, we know that that's the final. The second part of my talk will deal with real life examples from recent times. And the third part of my talk is a transformational model that I have termed as source. We will get into the details of that. And lastly, if time permitting, and if you still have doubts after my talk on anything, then we will take it up in the question answer session. So basically the 3 parts, what Swami has said, real life examples, and a transformational model, source, okay? From time to time, you'll find me getting into a teaching mode, and I may be trying to say things like, pay attention, we are going to go very fast, and, be with me and things like that. Okay, but I hope you'll enjoy the journey. Okay, can we move on? Okay, what does our dear Swami very lovingly say? A woman has the natural gift of faith, patience, love, compassion, tolerance, tenderness, self-service, devotion, and surrender. Each of these words is so potent. It's so significant. But this is not the time. At this time, we will not be able to go into detailing, looking at the details of each and every word. But as we go along in this journey of Sai Illumination series, maybe we can take each one of those words and look at the interpretation and application. It is the swadharma of every woman to educate herself and develop self-confidence. They may also take up jobs, but they should live up to the obligations and glory of womanhood. So there's no conflict about whether I should only take up a job, whether I should only be a housewife and things like that. He says, sure, take up jobs, but don't forget your obligations and the glory of womanhood. A woman should not neglect her home. Women are endowed with exceptional strength. It is in her role as mother that there is the highest expression of her strength. How beautiful. If you want to see the progress of a nation, see its women. As the woman, so is the nation. Most of these things I have taken from the book called Graha Lakshmi and the Glory of Womanhood. Can I have it? In short, I have brought down these points into 3 specific areas that Swami says. To be aware of our good qualities, to know for certain that our primary duty is to our family. So that clearly takes away any kind of conflict that we may be having, to realize our full potential. Next slide. Next slide, please. Okay. All right, this picture was to convey to you that there are lots of people, many people, beautiful women there, who can all be examples of beacons of light. But naturally, this being a session with limited time, I have taken only a few, 3 from my family and 3 from the bigger society at large. Okay, we can move on. Next slide, please. All right, so who were the people who influenced me? Who were the people who guided me? Who were acting as the beacons of light for me as a kid? My grandmother, my mother, and my mother-in-law, after I got married. A very significant aspect of every woman's life is when she gets married and when she meets her mother-in-law, when she enters her husband's house. If that transition can be smooth, and if the understanding can be perfect, then life can go very well. So let's see. Here I have just summarized how these 3 people influenced me. Keep God as your top priority. Be adaptable. Patience and moderation at all times. Do one thing at a time. Get the best education possible. Difficulties come and go like passing clouds. One of the things, one of the mothers, she used to ask me, she said, she says, Auntie, how do you get up at 4:30 in the morning every day? You must be going to bed early. I said, no, I go to bed around 10 o'clock. She said, but you get up at 4:30? I said, yes. She said, I'm going to try it. And then she tried it. And then she said, no, but I feel sleepy at 10 o'clock. Now I thought to myself, who had put it in my early years the importance of getting up at Brahma Muhurtam? It was my parents. They could never ever tolerate me getting up late, be it a Saturday, Sunday, holiday, anything. There were no exceptions at all. All right, here we are moving on to the bigger, as I said, to other personalities who have influenced the world, who have made a big difference. And one of them I have taken, who has touched me and who I revere and who I really feel very, very special for me, is Mother Teresa. For her, the biggest thing was nobody should feel unwanted or unloved. So with that in mind, she founded the Missionaries of Charity for the poor, dying orphans and those suffering from leprosy and AIDS. She said, lack of love is a sin and loneliness is a disease. Very profound thing. I mean, how easily we forget these 2 things. And she also said, love begins at home. It should be there. It should be experienced. Once you experience and show love in the house, then you can take it to the neighbor and love them as yourself. two things that I liked about her, which I would like to mention over here, is she always looked very relaxed. Mother Teresa always looked very relaxed. It's not because she had a very easy schedule. She could get up at 10 o'clock, she could go to bed whenever she wanted, she could have parties, not like that. She had a very hectic schedule, and she and her sisters, in the missionary, used to get up at 4:30 and go for mass, do their prayers and everything. She always looked relaxed, and despite a grueling schedule, when people asked her, how is it that you are always looking relaxed? Her answer was, I never worry about myself. It is God who has to think about me. I never worry about myself. God has to think about me. And she also added, I'm always ready to take what God has to give me. And I'm ready to give what he wants from me, even if it is a loved one. She loved Jesus and she saw him in everyone around her. She discovered her true potential through her devotion for Jesus. Next slide. Yeah. The next person that I would like to briefly touch upon is Sindhu Tai Sapkal, born 1947, died recently this year in the month of January. She went through immense suffering. She was disowned by her family because she was the girl child. And then she was abandoned by her in-laws. And when did she get married? She got married at the age of 10 to a person who was 20 years older than her. She went through so much of suffering that she wanted to end her life. What was the suffering like? Just to give you a glimpse, she had no place to sleep. She used to sleep on the railway platforms, on the footpaths, sometimes even the cemetery she chose because that she thought was a safe place because she was far away from the world which she was so scared of. So in one of those, kind of life that she was leading, in utter desperation, she wanted to commit suicide. She wanted to end her life. And she went to the railway station to do that. And when she saw the suffering of others over there, she saw dying beggars, she saw orphaned children. And she decided to share their sorrows. And she said, when I saw the sorrow of others and decided to share it, I forgot my sorrow. She became a social worker, and she had more than 1,500 orphans to whom she became the mother and provided a house, provided a shelter for them. Okay, can I have the next slide, please? The third person in my list is Arunima Chinna, a volleyball player. This wonder girl became the first woman amputee to climb Mount Everest. I mean, it's very hard for me to speak on her courage and her motivation, so I will not even make an attempt to do that. But her statement, you can achieve anything in the world with your head and heart, you don't need legs. That is a very important message to each one of us. Unwavering determination, courage, self-confidence make her story very inspirational. Can I move on to the next slide, please? With this, we come to part 3, the self-transformation model. The self-transformation model for me has the word source, and I've deliberately chosen this because when we go through life with all the responsibilities, when we women go through life with all the responsibilities and the challenges, and at the same time, we want to have a perfect balance between our home life and professional life, and we want to be successful, there's a tremendous amount of energy we need. And where are we going to find this energy? Are people outside going to give us this energy? No, we need to look inside. And that is the source. Look inside and see how you can transform yourself. As is evident from the slide, the 6 steps are: first, surrender; second, option; third, understand; 4, recognize; 5, conquer; 6, evolve. Okay, I'm sure the words are not going to be a problem for any of us to remember, because we just have to remember the word source. I have not achieved perfection. I tried this. This is my mantra. But I have not achieved perfect success. But I know that this model of self-transformation works. All right. So we will begin by understanding what is surrender. Surrender begins with faith. What does this picture have to do with that? So here is a person who was performing this feat of always walking on a tightrope and with a child on his shoulder, with an additional challenge. And he used to do this, and he had huge number of admirers. So one day when he gave an interview to all of them, he asked them, he said, "Do you have faith in me?" They said, "Yes." So then he said, "That's good. I will do this again because you have faith in me. But tell me, do you have complete faith in me?" They all said, "Yes, we are even willing to bet several $1,000s that you can do it." He said, "Sure, I'll do it. But this time, I want a child from you. I mean, give me your child, girl or a boy, that I can keep on my shoulder." The crowd that was so enthusiastic suddenly felt very silent. The moral is that we say we have faith in God, but then we experience all kinds of negativity. We have fear, we have anxiety, we have worry, and we are not able to be calm. If we have full faith in God, then we should be able to be fearless and be calm. So surrender actually means complete faith in God, because with faith, nothing is impossible. Without faith, nothing is possible. Surrender makes us fearless and calm, which I've already said. And the prayer of surrender that I like very much and which I would like to present you is, I have nothing, I know nothing, I can do nothing, I am nothing. I have nothing, I know nothing, I can do nothing, I am nothing. Every day in the morning, let me bow down, let me offer my obeisance to Bhagwan and say this. Then the outcome of this is a complete negation of ownership and doership, the thing that is all the time coming in the way of our total surrender. Once we surrender our mind to God completely, He will take care of us in every way, Baba says. All right, the next thing that I would like to say is that we all have options. We are all intelligent people. We need not be at the mercy of the environment or our upbringing. We all have the option to live a very happy and healthy life, follow the 9-point code of conduct, abide by the 5 human values of Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema, learn, relearn continuously, love all, serve all. I can love whatever I do. Nobody can stop me, and I can give my best in whatever I do. Nobody can stop me. These are all my options, and I can do it. Swami says we are Graha Lakshmi. We can choose to be that way. Mother Teresa chose to take care of the downtrodden. Sindhu Tai chose not to end her life, but to become the mother of so many thousands. Arunima Sinha chose to fight the gang that attacked her, because of which she became, she suffered the disability. She fought a group of thieves because of when she was attacked, and that's the reason she became disabled. And she chose not to give up, even when the whole world was discouraging her and telling her, "You are mad. You're trying to climb the Everest with, in such a condition." All of them exercised their option, and they refused to become victims of their circumstances. The third step is to understand. Understand what? Understand that we are all one. The same divine spark runs through all of us. Everyone is important and is present. by God's design. I mean, we know it. There are so many examples, you know. We can learn from nature, the human cells, the earthworms, the wriggly invertebrates that are so important for the soil. Every part of the human body is so important. The biggest obstacle in understanding, in transcending the name and the form is our ego. Shun the ego of wealth, relationship, and youthfulness. When we shun the ego of wealth, relationship, and youthfulness. And here again, I'm reminded of Adi Shankara's Bhaja Govindam. It says, Ma kuru dhana jana yauvana garvam harati nimesha kala sarvam ma kuru dhana jana. So such a beautiful, such a beautiful way to remind us that we need to, be aware of this that's coming. So let me live with total humility within the family and outside and become a role model. Next. This fourth step, recognize, is my favorite. And I have a lot of examples from my own work experience, in different companies and in different places, and right now with children, and in my life as a teacher in the school, umpteen examples of how positive recognition can really create a very motivating and a very happy environment for people. And life is about working together. Life is about recognizing each other. Life is not about turning our face away, not replying or finding fault. So they say recognition is a psychological oxygen. Authentic recognition energizes, boosts the general morale and capability. It can be a wave of the hand, a smile, a greeting, listening patiently. They are all simple ways of appreciating. I recently had a student who asked his mom, he said, Mommy, are you proud of me? And she said, yeah, of course. Why are you even asking this question? He said, no, because Miss Lalitha tells me every time, she tells me, I'm proud of you. The mother was so happy. She came back, she told me, I'm really happy that you are his teacher, because, my son really values what you say, and it's a good motivator for him. We are quick at finding faults because we take it for granted. We say, oh, so what? I have been better, or things should be better, and so on. So we have to make sure that our ability to recognize and our ability to rejuvenate, ability to motivate people is so high that we should tap on that resource and we should do it. Let me not think, what is the good that that person has done that I should appreciate? Let me not be shy. Let me not be afraid and withdrawn from recognizing others. During my corporate training program, I had similar experiences, and if time permits, I will share them in the question answer session as to how positive recognition can truly change the face of an organization or the environment, the family in which we live. Next. This is about conquering. It is important to be emotionally healthy. When the Graha Lakshmi cries, everyone cries. When she gets angry, everyone becomes scared. And when she's joyful and smiles, the whole house lights up. How nice it would be if I could get up every morning with a happy feeling. It is possible. But what happens is things go wrong, and then I blame everything around me for my state of unhappiness. So therefore, the call over here is, it's important to be emotionally healthy, and I need not give this freedom away to anyone else. It is my prerogative to be feeling well all the time. How do I do that? You work on the 6 devils, the Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsaryam. Again, as I said, no time for discussing each of these things, but I'm sure many of you are very aware of it. But one thing that I would like to say is that in measuring where I am in this respect of the 6 devils, there is a formula called the FIR. Ask yourself, what is the frequency with which I get angry? I'm just taking an example. What is the intensity with which I'm getting angry? And in what time do I recover? If the frequency is very high, I get angry for every little thing. Intensity, I blow up and there is a earthquake or volcano wherever I am. And if the recovery time is very high, that means this is my main goal for my working for transformation. The simple steps to follow in in conquering our internal enemies, and the simple steps to follow to always be happy is own your negative feelings and don't transfer them. We very easily do this, not owning our negative feelings and transferring them to others, very detrimental to our relationships. Count your blessings, feel a deep sense of gratitude, practice sealing on desires, give and forgive, and direct your negative feelings to Swami. Now here I have my own personal example of directing negative feelings to Swami, but I'm going to hold it in case it comes up and somebody wants to know what is the story that I have to share. Oh yeah. So now I have climbed the steps and I have come to evolve. So the purpose of life is transformation. And it's important that we realize, that change is the only constant, and that we are not here to try to change others. Swami has reminded us several times that it's not your duty to change others, but change yourself. Do I accept all the changes around me? Because when I say change is constant, all this is happening all the time. Do I accept those changes? That itself is a change in me, and that is going to help me deal with the situation. Do I enjoy the change? And a lot of times we know what we need to change, but we don't have the determination. A lot of times we know what we have to change, but we think it's a very big task. So the solution is take baby steps towards the change and never give up. I have a story over here, which is very beautiful, that of Sufi Bayazid. He was a revolutionary, and he wants, his job or his mission was to change the entire world because he was a revolutionary. So in his youth, his prayer to God was, God, please give me the courage to change the world. When he came to middle age, quite frustrated and not able to change the world, his prayer changed to, God, give me the strength to change just a handful of people, my family and a few people around me. When he reached old age, not able to do even that, he said, God, please give me the wisdom to change myself. And if I had said this prayer long time back, I may not have wasted all these years. I think we all make this mistake of looking at the environment to change others, but very few look within and see what is the change that I can make in order to change people. And when I change myself, people around me are definitely going to change and things are going to be very beautiful for me. Okay, next slide, please. Next slide. All right, to sum up, Swami says women are naturally endowed with good qualities. We are full of positive energy, but not all of us feel that way. Our energy gets very dissipated. We saw examples of women who are beacons of light, who were beacons of light. We discussed Source, a 6-step self-transformation model, and change is the only constant. Accept and never give up. Okay, so before I end, I would like to present this. Again, I'm presenting all the things that are my favorite. Here is a sculpture by Michelangelo. It's called the Pieta. It's very famous. And he did it so beautifully. It shows Mother Mary with Jesus Christ on her lap when he came down, when he was brought down from the crucifix. And when people saw this, one of them asked, how did you do this? So Michelangelo said, I did not do anything. I only chiseled away all the unnecessary things in the stone that I had got. I could hear a voice of Jesus from within calling me, saying, I'm encaged in this rock, please release me. So I chiseled away all those unnecessary pieces and out came the sculpture. When we use the chisel of self-knowledge to chisel out the wrong understanding about ourselves and the world, the hidden divine perfection in us manifests as tejas, a divine glow. Swami tells us time and again, you are divine. You are divinity in human form. Realize this and act in the world outside. The realization that I am Satchit Ananda is very important, and it has to be a part of me in my awareness all the time. I don't have to remind myself when I wake up in the morning, who am I, whether I'm a girl or a boy, man or a woman. I don't have to remind myself. So also the awareness that I'm Satchit Ananda should be there all the time with me. The whole world is an opportunity for me to express my divinity. Let me take my spirituality everywhere and spiritualize everything. And what is divinity? What is spirituality? It all comes down to one word, love. Love is divinity itself. And when I do everything with divine unconditional love, I am a beacon of light, inspiring and making a difference in the world. I end with my favorite quotation: aspire to be divine and inspire by being divine. My dear brothers and sisters, all of us are capable of inspiring everybody around us and evolving by doing so. Thanks for your attention. Jai Sai Ram.
Thank you, Sister Lalitha Jagannathan, for the inspiring talk. You highlighted very important aspects of women, especially the part where you highlighted the inspiring women of our day and age with Swami's principles. Also, a woman can achieve anything in life with her determination, followed by the surrender prayer, which is, I have nothing, I know nothing, I can do nothing, and I am nothing. And when we leave like that, everything to dear Lord, which is Swami, I'm sure he will guide us through to be the beacons of light that we're supposed to be. And thank you so much, sister. Due to time, I have summarized one question, all the questions that have come up. And the question is, please tell us how you balance wearing different hats, and how has Swami guided you wearing those different hats as a woman?
So wearing the hat, how has Swami guided? So it's simple. For Swami said that home, your primary duty is towards your family. Okay? Primary duty is towards your family. You have the responsibility of making your home an ideal home. That is your dharma, that is your swadharma. Educate yourself, develop self-confidence. Creativity is a part of self-confidence. So when I'm creative, I can manage home and I can manage the work life very well. I know my priority is my home and I can plan it very well. And as I said, be very creative in how I'm going to manage, arrange things. A lot of us, because we may not be planning things well, because we may not have utilized all the resources around us, take the help of people around you to help you achieve your goals. So if your priority is clear, your home and then your work, very important, but taking the environment along with you. And I actually did it. There was a time that I had to change. I came down from HR, corporate trainer, to becoming a school teacher of kindergarten children. It happened because of the need of my family. It happened because my second son, who is now a professor at San Diego and who had an excellent academic career, he refused to go to school. So the things happened in such a way that I became a school teacher. But so these transitions we make, we exercise these choices. But remember that family, family, family. Why? Because it is the smallest unit of society. If I can do that drop, then I have, taken care of the world. So can I add one more point? A lot of us here in the modern nuclear family think that if I don't work, how will the extra money, how will the extra finances, how will the extra resources come? Because things are expensive, lot of demands. But a woman can use her intelligence as to how to organize the resources in her house, how to arrange the finances in her house, such that you are able to meet your goals and be happy. When my grandmother and my mother, they didn't live with very affluent resources around them. Everything was measured, everything was counted. But in that, we became more creative. In that, we became more understanding. In that, we became more responsible. So it's not like you have lots of money. Lots of money will bring in lots of ego clashes and lot of stress. Saira.
Sister, thank you for that valuable advice. I'm sure all of us can take that with us and be the beacons of light for Swami and to everyone that he wants us to be. My humble salutations to Swami for gracing all of us in this inaugural session. Thank you, Swami. Special thanks to our national coordinator, Sister Lakshmi Vyakaran, for the inaugural welcome address, and our guest speaker, Ms. Lalitha Jagannathan, for the inspiring talk. Our next Illumination series will be held in November. The date and time will be announced soon. Due to time, you are more than welcome to send in your questions via WhatsApp or email to the guest speaker, and we will communicate and get back to you all the answers. There is a WhatsApp group for Region 7 for women, and if you have not joined yet, please coordinate with the respective center reps whom I have shared in the earlier today, and they will be able to add you to the group. And please make sure to join the group for more information. And once again, please do give your support to all the sisters who are chosen to serve as the Center Women's Coordinators at your respective centers. And thank you once again. And may we continue to inspire and in his name, and Jai Sai Ram. Let's conclude with Om and Three Shanti.
Thank you.
Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Jai Sai Ram, Sai Ram.